Welcome to your seed saving demo video. So our first R then is a receptacle. So I don't know about you, but these just remind me of being little and getting penny sweets. So not only are they great for seed saving and obviously pretty cheap, but also they've just got that really lovely bit of nostalgia, which for me just really takes me back to being young, and I think really adds to that kind of chilled, mindful vibe. So this is what I use. Whatever you choose, it needs to be breathable, and these are really great because once you've put the seeds in, you can obviously fold them up quite small and then store them till you're ready to sow the seeds. So that's the first one. The next one then is record, which is you are going to record the name of the seed that you're collecting. If it's got there's different colours that you're growing of things. So for example, scabious, in my garden I grow white varieties, I grow a lovely sort of hot pink variety. If you know the name of the variety, great. If you don't, as long as you write the colour down, then that's absolutely fine. And then always write the year as well that you're collecting it in, because generally seed after sort of a year just is not quite as good once you've stored it. So it's a really good idea to write down what year you have saved the seed from. So here I'm going to be, it's no, that's not what it's called, Orlea grandiflora. Now there's only one variety of that, so I'm not going to worry, but I will just write white just for the sake of it, and I'm going to write 2022. And that's all you need. You don't need the month or anything, just the year. And that's literally all I'm going to do. It's not particularly neat, but make sure you do this before you start collecting the seed, otherwise it can get really confusing. So then all you're going to do now is you're going to reap your seeds. So you can see here, this is the Orlea plant, and the seeds are really, really, I don't know if you can see them, they've almost got like little spines on, so they, if you were to walk past and catch those on your clothes, they would stick onto them. So I've literally just pulled that off of there, just put my hands around it and pulled it off, and then I'm just going to empty them into the bag, and I'm just going to do that with the other heads as well. And then when you put them into the bag, they kind of split into their single seeds. Now you can probably see as I'm pulling this, some of the other ones are kind of flying off all around, but I don't mind if these self-sow themselves, because these are hardly annual. So if they self-sow now in September, then hopefully I should have some plants that I've had to basically do nothing for, because they'll just grow themselves, which is always good when we're short on time. So to really amp up the mindfulness here, these are actually quite spiky. So not only are you looking, when you're looking at the seeds, you're looking for them to be brown and dry, seed-like. Anything that's too green, not ready yet, so leave it a little bit longer, although it's been so dry. Most things are well going to seed already, a bit earlier this year. But also with these, they are quite spiky, so you need to go a little bit careful when you pull them off that you don't get spiked. But it is something nice to kind of anchor your senses into, even though it's a little bit painful. It's, you know, it just kind of stops you from getting all up in your head, and you can actually focus on collecting the seeds. You just need to be a little bit careful so you don't actually do yourself an injury. There we go, that will help you kind of amp up your mindfulness a little bit. There's loads more there, but I'm not going to make you sit and watch me do that. So then you have got, just quickly to say, if you are collecting things like poppy heads, for example, what I find easiest to do is just come to the plant, chop the poppy head off, pick up the poppy head, put it into the top of your bag and shake the poppy head seed in there to collect all the seeds. And then I keep my dried poppy heads because they're really good for like wreath decorations and just generally having dried around the house when maybe there's not much flower in the winter and stuff. But that's just saves you from losing the seeds. Also really good for things like nigella as well. And when you're doing that, it's a really nice mindful activity to just close your eyes and just, you know, shake them and just hear the seed kind of pouring out of them into the bag. Okay, and then your last R then is it reserve? Yes, I think it is, which is basically to store them. Okay, so these are going to need to be stored somewhere dry and cool. Now, I store mine in my garage, which is not ideal because it doesn't actually get quite hot in the summer, but from now onwards it's going to be hopefully quite cool until I come to sow these. Well, these actually I'm going to sow some autumn ones, but I'll probably sow them in March as well, so it's not going to be too hot for them. You need to keep them dry as well, because if they get damp then they will either start sprouting, and which you don't necessarily want, or they'll just rot and go mouldy. So cool and dry if you can. Some people say about keeping them in a fridge, which I have done in the past, but the best thing you can do with that is you will need to get some of that like silica gel to keep in the fridge with them, because otherwise they just get a bit damp. So for me personally, I just keep them, I've got some storage boxes that I keep them in, and I just make sure I keep them well aired all through through the winter, so they don't get rotten or mouldy or wet or too warm either. So anyway, I hope that was useful. Do come into the Mighty Networks group and let us know what seed you are going to be saving this year and when you're going to sow it. Are you going to sow it now, or are you going to wait and sow it in the springtime? Let us know.